in. Sit back and relax. You're listening to the Wealth Tech Today podcast. I'm your host, Craig Iskowitz, founder of Ezra Group Consulting. And this podcast features interviews, news, and analysis on the trends and best practices all around wealth management technology. My guest for this episode was Babu Sivadasan, CEO of JIFFYAI. Now, Babu is a passionate and serial entrepreneur with public company experience, and he's an engineer at heart. As co-founder and former group president of Envestnet, he spent 20 years building that company in various roles, leading product, engineering, and business functions. Prior to Envestnet, Babu was the co-founding CTO of Stamps.com. He also serves as the chairman of venture-funded startup CareStack. He's an active angel investor and mentor to various startup companies in both Silicon Valley and India. He also serves as a venture mentor to IvyCap Venture Capital Partners. Now, we spoke about the problem, industry complexity and silos, and Jiffy's solution, their no-code platform. We touched on Jiffy's recently released AI companion that automates post-meeting work, and discussed a bit about competitive strategy and future vision for the industry. And speaking of competitive strategy, we all know building a great wealth tech product is hard. Now, selling it and being successful at selling it is even harder. Enterprise wealth management firms have long buying cycles, complex org structures, and a lot of incumbent vendors protecting their turf. Most wealth tech companies waste years and millions of dollars figuring out how to navigate that minefield, if they ever do. Here at Ezra Group, we help wealth tech firms skip that learning curve. We spent over 2 decades advising the very wealth management firms you're trying to sell to, which means we understand how they think, how they buy, and what it takes to win their business. We offer go-to-market strategy consulting specifically for wealth tech providers, helping you define your positioning, identify the right targets, and build a distribution strategy that fits how the market actually works. Visit EzraGroup.com to schedule a call and find out how we can help. All right, now my standard housekeeping chores. Please subscribe to the show, yada, yada, yada. Make sure to check out our sponsor, the Invest in Others Charitable Foundation at investinothers.org. And if you're a software vendor in the wealth management space, please make sure to register your product for our Wealth Tech Integration Score vendor portal at ezragroup.com/register so that your product's integration score is always up to date. And now, let's kick this thing off. All right. I'm excited to introduce our next guest. It is my good friend, an industry luminary, Babu Sivadasan, CEO of JIFFYAI. Babu, great to see you.
Great to see you as well, Craig.
We didn't have run to each other at many conferences, just T3, right? We were in New Orleans. We got to hang out there.
Yeah.
But we haven't overlapped anywhere else.
No, we were at Tiburon together last year, yeah.
Last year. I had to miss it. I missed Tiburon this year because I went to Colombia.
Yeah.
Vacation, just got back. We're just talking about that. And where are you calling in from?
From beautiful Silicon Valley.
Yeah, not so beautiful. It could be better. I'm in New Jersey. I'm back in New Jersey, so we're jealous of the California weather, but not now. If we get our 2 weeks of beautiful weather in May, then it'll be hot and muggy soon enough.
Well, wish you a great weather.
Yeah, we'll see. But it's the best we can do. But we're not here to talk about weather. We're here to talk about JIFFYAI. So let's jump in, and if you could give us a 30-second elevator pitch for Jiffy.
We are a AI technology firm. We unify the data for our clients. We transform that data, and have insights derived from those data that gets elevated into experiences, and those experiences unlock capacity for the firms.
There you go. And you spent 20 years at Envestnet as a co-founder and group president. In fact, I know you longer than that.
Yeah.
We met before you were at Envestnet.
Yeah.
So when you were at Net Asset Management,
Exactly.
which merged with Envestnet and became what it became Envestnet. So,
Yeah.
right. So those were the days, right? Now, so what did you see from inside now what became the largest vendor, wealth management vendor in the country, and what did you see that said, "Hey, there's a gap that we can fill with a new company"?
Yeah. So, going back, so when I started with net asset management, my goal was to spend 20 years. So
Mm,
I completed 20 years. I retired on my 20th year anniversary. So it was all well planned.
yes, good.
But, I had a long history with AI, exploring AI back in I did my college days, and I did AI models for identifying faults in electronic circuits, for example, for the
Hmm.
Indian Space Agency. And I was fascinated by the potential, and that I thought anything could be done with AI. But then next 20, in fact, next 30 years, I didn't hear about AI at all. So but I entertained that thought along the way, and I deeply believe that software could be built using AI one day, right? So back in 2012, uh, you know I had I was exploring within the company, we were trying to go into retirement business. And at that time, I thought there was a short break. A short break in the sense, you have free time a little bit, to explore a few things, few innovations, and did explore with AI some capabilities, but I thought it was too early still. It
Mm.
was not commercially viable. And then 2018, as I was winding up or getting closer to my retirement from Envestnet, I started thinking about, hey, what else could be done, and is AI ready for it? And that's when I got convinced, especially with the availability of various models or model infrastructure being able to train easily. And back in the days, when I was building it, we wrote the backpropagation algorithms. So you get two lines of algorithms, and you go and implement those, right? So
Mm.
to train the data, and to build the model, like that, a lot of that has become a lot easier back in 2018. So I thought, there is a possibility of actually pursuing that lifelong dream of building capability using simple natural language, make it democratize, make it available. And that was idea.
I mean, back in the day when I was getting my comp science degree, there was no AI. It was we called it neural networks.
Yes, deep learning, deep networks, yeah,
Right.
neural networks, deep learning networks. Yep.
Yeah, and yeah, very deep learning, and there was it was so slow. Like we didn't think it would ever work because it was the technology we were working on we were on the VAX or other systems which just were incredibly slow to do even those basic loop like structures took forever.
Absolutely. So I still remember, when we were building in back in 92, we would uh, write a piece of function, and then we would train, or we will let it train to see if the model is converging. We'll make a tweak and things like that, and then it'll we had a PC,
Yeah,
and so you're simulating, and it's a x86, and 286, right? So, and it'll run for 2 weeks, and that's when you'll know if it is actually on the right path, because a lot of times models will diverge, so you need to make sure it is converging, so that you're on the right path. And
yeah,
we would wait for 2 weeks to know that it is on the right path. So
exactly.
normally, you do anything, you will immediately know that you're on the right path, right? So, or at least you get signs of being on the right path. And this one, and compared to that, boy, what a world we live in today.
Yeah, wasn't there something? Was it short-term long memory or long-term short memory paper that
Oh,
published that revolutionized speech recognition back
yeah,
in
yeah, back in the
2000
day,
something
yes,
five or
absolutely,
something, right?
yeah, yeah,
And yeah, that's at the time that was AI, right? That was what we
yeah,
thought
yeah.
of as AI was speech recognition. So now we're clearly way past that. But some of the things you guys are doing, it talks about your broader enterprise play. So somehow you made a decision to focus on wealth management. So why were you confident that the market was ready for what you were building?
Yeah, so we initially started as a horizontal capability, and then what we found was, to get the real. I mean, you need depth in a particular vertical, right? To be more relevant, because horizontal technologies, you can only get so far in terms of productivity gains and things like that. Now you need to really understand and go deeper, right? And then, especially with the broader availability of LLMs, even for vendors like us to be relevant, you need to be really deep in the vertical and be able to really demonstrate meaningful outcomes for our clients. So that's another reason. And you know I spent 20 years building every little piece of the wealth ecosystem. So I thought it was a familiar place, and we could make a difference there.
Excellent. So everything in the Jiffy AI's current product suite, as you state, sits on a proprietary no-code platform, which is also revolutionary. We didn't have that 20 years ago. No one
Yeah.
could imagine that. But let's break it down. Like technically, what is it when you say it's no code? Is it a visual workflow builder, the rules engine? Is it something else? What does building no code actually give the wealth management firms that software we have now doesn't do?
Yeah. So, it is all of those. It's the ability to build front-end experiences, front-end, user interface, user experiences, the ability to build and model processes and workflows, the ability to build integrations on the fly, the ability to understand, documents or screens or anything that you look at, in any content, and trying to make sense out of it. All of that coming together, ability to consume large amounts of data from various sources. Our industry thrives on that, like getting large amounts of data in the middle of the night. So being able to bring all of that together and into a data lake, right, and then allow innovators, allow the people at these firms, over the years, and I've met so many really thoughtful folks, folks like you, for example. If you were to unleash your ability to build meaningful outcomes for the advisors, and that's what we build the platform for.
Hmm.
And then to demonstrate, so on that, we built applications, whether it is great experiences. We focused on the front end experiences, between the advisor and the client, and the advisor and the home office. That experiences. How do you deliver to the investor or client a delightful onboarding experience, a delightful servicing experience? Those are things that we focused on, and same thing for the home office, to be able to deliver similar experiences to the advisor.
It's all about experiences, and we've have some very good ones and some very bad ones in this industry. And one area you just mentioned was onboarding, and that's been a bad one for a long time.
Yes.
That firms have trouble onboarding. Even everyone uses software. No one's doing it by hand anymore. But there's so many different systems involved that have to be managed. Not to mention the custodians and different registration types. So you've got an onboarding product. You have a unified onboarding product, which is your flagship. So you've got a bunch of really good clients. So they all have their own systems. They can all build it, whether it's Cetera or Citizens Bank or WealthSpire. They've got IT teams that can build stuff. So why are they partnering with Jiffy rather than building it themselves? What's the specific capability that gets them to switch to you?
Yeah. So when you talk about advisory business and where it is headed, right now, so you have to talk about what the consumer has the ability to do today. Firms like SoFi, for example, allows a unified experience to buy any product, any financial product, right now. So, and I believe for the advisors to be holistic, and really be that life coach. You need to be able to help them meet the needs, and that is not just stocks and bonds, ETFs, mutual funds, but no, not just investments. The bank accounts, insurance products. You have all these needs, and it is today. We live in a silo world, right? Where if you want to buy investments, you go one place. If you want to open a wealth account, you go one place, and if you want to have an insurance account, you go to a completely different experience. You want annuities, completely different experience. You want mortgages, a completely different experience. And that's not what the consumers want. Consumers want a unified experience, and they expect the advisor to provide that. And that's a lot of capability, and unifying that experience is very, very hard to do, right? And that's where we believe we can make a difference. We especially with our no code capability, it allows us to orchestrate them very, very effectively. And even in wealth alone, there are 98 plus different types of accounts, and to be able to have all the rules and have that unifying experience, it's the easiest thing to put out 98 different forms, right? And have them filled, but it is very hard to unify them into a cohesive set of experiences, and dynamic experiences based on certain questions and things like that. That whole experience is hard to build, and that's where and to leave that lasting impression, lasting first impression. You want to deliver a superior onboarding experience. Now, adding to the complexity, Craig, is that we live in a multi-custodial world, right?
Wait, before you get to multi-custodial, Babu, let me just stop you for a second, if I may. You mentioned registration types. So 98 registration types. That's always been a complexity when you've got trusts and partnerships and multi-owner accounts and different hierarchies. You just can't build that and just push out a bunch of forms. You need a unified data model underneath all of that, right? So can we talk about that first, and then we'll go to the next step? So what does normalizing all that data require, and how can you stand up that layer with a new client, and where does it most commonly break down?
Yeah, so that requires a lot of thought. We put in a lot of thought, looking at and drawing upon a lot of experience. Web a unifying account opening experience, multi-custodial experience was something that I tried to do at Envestnet, but we could never get that done, right? So I thought with a no code infrastructure and the ability to organize things, starting with a robust backbone, right, which is a unifying data model, right, and then on top of it, having these rules-based experiences, built without having to write a lot of code to hardwire into the software. That allows you to be nimble and orchestrate these experiences on the fly.
That's excellent. All right. So before I interrupted you, you were talking about the multi-custodial world. So now let's talk about that.
So
the complexities there.
Yeah, no, you have the standard big custodians, and typically an advisory firm, as they grow $1 billion plus, when you get to that, they start thinking multi-custodial, right? So now all of a sudden, you need to train people on your own staff, first of all, on multiple experiences, and that's hard to do. You want your entire company on a singular experience, and then you want that to be delivered to the investors in a singular experience as well. And that again, as there'll always be. In financial services, as you know, there is no Coca-Cola, there is no Pepsi, or two companies dominating, right? No, it is the
there are
biggest
brand
firm,
names.
the biggest firm has a 7% market share in the world. So that financial services will always be the most innovative. There'll always be more custodial choices, more vendors, and you need to be building for that kind of a diverse ecosystem, right? No, so which means that no, you need to unify them.
Indeed. All right. So let's talk about what everyone's talking about, which is AI. You guys launched an AI advisor companion back at T3 when we saw each other in New Orleans.
Yeah.
And you're claiming some impressive statistics that it can deliver a 40% or more efficiency improvement. So, what is this AI advisor companion? How does it support advisors' workday? And is it a pilot? Is it a beta? Is it in launch? Is it in production?
Yeah, it's a beta. We're working with a few customers today, and the what we are seeing is like the ability to have a 30 minutes conversation between the client and the advisor, and let's say it's a prospect conversation and the client agrees, a prospect agrees, and normally you have a planning conversation. You come out with the need for maybe 5 to 7 accounts. That's what you need to set up. Individual accounts, children's accounts, education accounts, and retirement accounts, etc. Right, and all of a sudden having that, whatever information that you collected, or from that conversation, all of that translating into action. Within about 3 to 5 minutes, those account paperwork being ready for to be sent to the client. It may have about 80 to 85% of that completed. There'll be some additional piece of information that the client may still have to provide, but almost all of that be ready in about 3 to 5 minutes right after the conversation. That's fascinating, and that we are able to do.
That's awesome. The So when you talk about meetings, are you building a note taker? Is that the AI advisor companion? Is it taking notes
Yes,
and
it
transcribing?
has a note taker built in. Like we do uh, coexist with other note takers as well, but we have a built-in note taker as part of the companion.
Interesting. So do you see that as something you need to have? That's all. Like I put up my feeling is that every vendor needs to have some sort of note taker because otherwise the note takers are going to disintermediate you.
Yeah,
Would you agree with that?
yeah. I do believe a note taker is a utility. Like it'll be part of every piece of software. Just you and I are talking, and there's a note taker right there, right? Now, and that'll be part of each and every piece of software.
Excellent. The So let's talk about implementations. So what does it take to implement this no code onboarding platform? So at Ezra Group, we do tech stack evaluations across wealth management firms, and we do a lot of software implementations. And oftentimes the complexity is in between knowing where the bodies are buried, understanding the landmines when it comes to these types of systems, and it's often bottleneck on the client side that they're just too busy. They've got
Yeah.
their business to run. They don't have time to sit with you and help you get this implemented. So you guys have 150 employees. You got big clients like Cetera. How have you been delivering at scale without implementation becoming a point of failure?
Yeah, no, I consider ourselves to be a small company compared to my previous place, where we built a phenomenal scale, right? Um, but typically implementations is all about getting to understand the client's processes, how they see the world, what brand they represents, and how they present themselves to the investors. And getting full alignment, that takes some time. You want to be fully aligned with your clients, and then mapping out all the existing processes, and you're looking for elevation. Nobody likes change, but people want elevation of experiences at the same time, right? Now, so you finding that right balance, where they can manage that change and still be able to get meaningful transformation. So going through that journey, typically, it's about 90 days, and you go through that process. Initial 30 days, you're learning and you're doing a lot of demonstrations, making them aware of what the capabilities are, and and at the same time understanding what their world looks like, right? And then you go and start configuring things, and and sometimes reimagine some things. Sometimes you add new capability in that process, and then you deliver something that they can experience in that third month.
Well, I meant to ask, with the Advisor AI Companion, which has got a note taker, what are you charging for that?
We are charging about $60 per month per user.
And will it do workflows and keep track of tasks and other things?
All of that, and it integrates well with the data warehouse and the rest of the technology that we offer as well.
So we just put out our AI note takers report, which we rebranded as the Agentic AI Operating System report.
Yeah,
since all the note takers have moved way beyond transcription and become they want to be a platform that's spanning across all the advisors applications, similar to what Jiffy is doing.
Yeah.
So do you see that as being a competitive pressure for you? And they're also talking about, hey, we're now enterprise platforms and we can pull data from data lakes and other things, but they don't have, I would imagine they're just 2 years old. They don't have the breadth and depth of knowledge that you guys have yet. They're going to catch up very quickly. But how do you how can you talk about your benefits and your experience with data warehousing, data lakes, and data normalization that can give you an advantage at the time being against some of these agentic operating systems?
Yeah. So if you look at note takers, what they have done is start with the simpler problems, right? And then working your way back into the complexity, right? And we thought about it, and we thought to build a sustainable enterprise, you want to start with the complex things and then build foundation really strong, right? You cannot build a multi-story building without a robust foundation, and so we focused on the hard part, and normalizing, different kinds of complex web of, if you look at, Michael Kitch's, that spaghetti diagram, that's
Hey, don't knock on that diagram. Michael and I do that together.
Yeah,
I partner with him on that.
Okay,
it's the Keats's Ezra Group map.
Yeah,
my logo isn't on there yet, but
yeah, and
so,
look at
yes,
the complex.
that's not spaghetti. It's just a lot of logos. Come on, it's busy.
No, it is
innovation.
It is telling really the complexity of the industry, right? And it will never go away, right? Because there'll always be innovation. There'll always be, if it were to be just one or two vendors, then there won't be any innovation, if you will, right? So there'll always be a large number of vendors, and then what that means is, you need to be able to normalize things, and you need to be able to unify things, right? And that's a harder problem to do, right? And staying up to date with it, because all new capabilities will constantly come to the market, and staying up to date is a hard problem. And so we decided to solve the foundation first, and then build the easy part later, right? And that's the journey that we have taken on.
That's awesome. I mean, you got to keep innovating and keep changing, and you're always going to have new competitors. So we're running out of time. Let me throw a last question out at you. So you've built this tremendous platform that spans onboarding, servicing, advisor desktop, and now an AI companion, note taking, and more. So where do you think you're going to be in 18 to 24 months? Can't even say 2 years. It's too far away. 18 to 24 months, where this makes it worth the bet in terms of clients' capabilities and problems you're actually solving. Where do you think you need to be?
We need to be at 100 clients, and delivering meaningful outcome, right? So there is a promise of AI that still beyond note taking, people haven't seen the real potential fully, and that will be realized, and hundreds of clients, and being able to leverage that, and to a large extent being able to bring your unlocking that capacity and bring the operating expenses to a few basis points, and that'll be a phenomenal outcome.
And one last question: what do you see? What's the biggest impact that AI is going to have on the wealth management space?
I think the operating leverage that you're going to have with AI is going to be the most important impactful thing that ever has happened to wealth management industry.
Operating leverage.
Yeah.
All right, there you've had it. You've heard it here first, folks. You've said it all. Babu, where can people find more information about Jiffy?
Yeah. Jiffy.ai, www.jiffy.ai, and our teams are at various conferences. We look forward to meeting at various conferences and events like podcasts and things like that. That we talk about what we do, right? But our website is the first. And my email ID is babu@jiffy.ai. And
That's a brave CEO who gives out his personal email on a podcast. Great, Babu. Thanks for being here, man. Great talking to you and seeing you again.
Thank you, Craig. It's been great. Thank you for having me.
Hey, it's Craig again. Here are my top 3 takeaways from this episode. Number 1, AI Advisor Companion delivers immediate operational gains. Jiffy's AI tool converts 30-minute client conversations into 85% pre-filled account paperwork in just 3 to 5 minutes, with a built-in note taker at just $60 per month. This addresses the historically painful onboarding process that's plagued the industry. Number 2, foundation first strategy beats quick wins. Jiffy.ai built complex data normalization and unified account models before adding simpler features. This contrasts with note-taker competitors who started simple and then moved up to more complex services. Jiffy's robust backbone handles 98 or more registration types and multi-custodial complexity that other firms haven't tackled yet. And 3, operational leverage is AI's real superpower. The biggest impact won't be flashy features, according to Babu. It's reducing operational expenses to a few basis points by unlocking capacity across the industry. Babu's targeting, or rather Jiffy's targeting 100 clients to deliver meaningful outcomes within 18 to 24 months as their proof point. All right, congratulations. You reached the end of another episode of the Wealth Tech Today podcast. But before you go, please drop by our newly redesigned website, ezragroup.com, and scroll to the bottom of the homepage and sign up for our newsletter. Once a month, you receive an email chock full of wealth management goodness, news, information, and analysis. You won't be disappointed. Thanks again for listening, and talk to you all again next time.